Hi, Brad Ross here with the Global Mining Education Foundation. The foundation is really about advocating for education for mining that's effective, efficient, affordable, and credible. And today I'm talking with Susan Fleming of ACT Australia. She has a company that actually is doing some really great work in this field. So,
Hi.
Susan, let's talk a little bit about your company. Tell me about ACT Australia.
Well, I'll tell you what ACT stands for. It's actually a verb and a noun, to act, which is what we do. But ACT stands for acting, consulting, and training.
Ah,
So it's very much our remit. 12 years ago, I was challenged by Shell to find something that was really engaging in process safety. And I said, you've got to find something immersive. And I know it exists. It's called industrial theatre. It exists in London and in the US, not very much in the US, I have to say. And it gives people such an emotional experience as well as a cognitive experience because of the storytelling. People don't forget it. And that's what we want with training.
that sounds like it's very effective. So it fits very well with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So give me some examples of the stories that you've told as part of what you do.
Well, Shell being oil and gas, our very first production was Deep Water, the story of the Deepwater Horizon explosion in the Gulf of Mexico. Some of you will have seen the movie, but there's nothing like being able to go back in time, which theatre allows you to do, the actual day of the incident. And then we took it forward in the third act to a year after, and we looked at the investigations and the results of those investigations. Now that's powerful.
That's very powerful. Are there any others that you've done?
Well, we're racking up to number 65, to be perfectly
65?
honest. Yes.
That's amazing.
So everything from Piper Alpha to Texas City to Fukushima to the space shuttle. We have done programs for aviation, for defense, for oil and gas, as I mentioned, for rail. We do really significant projects for rail and now mining. And this took us on a different slant, this one, thanks to you guys.
Well, so tell me about the newest project that you do in this list.
So obviously from what we've been talking about, we mostly do projects about disasters where things go wrong, give us rich material for lessons learned, right?
That's right.
So this time, with so much emphasis on psychosocial safety, mentally healthy workplaces, I started looking for something different.
Yes.
And our mutual colleague, Alex Atkins, told me about the story of the Manefay slip in Utah at the Kennecott copper mine. And what had stood out for her in the lessons learned was the youth of the leadership, the trust and respect they had for each other, and this incredible regimen of the way they used the TARPs, the tactical action response plans, and the recovery, and how interesting that was. I started talking to her. We read lots about it. She had read your book. And I started thinking, maybe we can do a story about what good looks like.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So let's go back and tell me a little bit about the things that people have learned from your other work, and how would that compare to what you want them to learn from this work?
It's very important that training is engaging. I have a passion for giving the money that we spend in these major hazard industries some to the safety. We weren't getting it. I was seeing death by PowerPoint, really bad videos, stand and deliver for hours where all the safety people would go, oh my God, I'd just rather stick a fork in my eyes. And that's not good enough. If we're spending as much money as we are on innovation, and yet we're saying safety is our number one priority, and that's what we're giving as training, not good enough. So what I wanted was engaging, memorable, but really powerful and empowering. So it's no point telling a really great story about things that went wrong or went right without giving the people in the session feel that they've got the power to make a difference. So if you ask me if there's one thing that I want people to go away from our sessions, it's to believe that they are responsible too, and that they have a role to play.
Fantastic. So that speaks again to effectiveness of what you do.
Absolutely.
So
and we measure that. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, great. How do you measure it?
Well, we measure that. We've started doing a lot more research with universities where we are looking at research projects that look at the value of storytelling in safety and how effective it is. And it's great because then they found out about what we do, and we think our storytelling's amongst the highest standard of storytelling. So that's working really well. We're doing pre and post surveys, and we do surveys where we give people a chance to reflect, because not everybody's the same. Sure. Not everyone wants to complete something when they finish a session. Some people like to reflect. Some people like to report anonymously. And then we do all our anecdotal work. I've had people walk up to me in the street and go, "Oh, I remember that scene in Deep Water," and they repeat it to me word by word. That was great. So it has an impact.
So let's talk about efficiency, which a lot of times is, in some ways, how many people you actually touch.
Mm-hmm.
So your previous events, what's the typical audience size, and what do you expect from audience size for the swim?
So the audiences range from 12 to 400 to over 1,000. And then we do some filmed versions of our work, which then go to many thousands. So one of our projects is one of the key facets of International Process Safety Week, which is the last week of November this year. And that's a short part of one of our productions on a plane, RAF incident in the UK called the Nimrod. And that piece will be shown online to thousands of people all over the world.
That's fantastic. And how much time do people spend learning in your process?
So there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. So most often a company will come to us and say, "We have this audience, we actually have this concern, and we'd like to address it. Have you got any ideas?" And we might talk to them about a scenario that we've done before, or we might uncover a scenario that's in their own business that has happened, or a near miss, and we write something bespoke. Then we might do it as a 1 day, a quarter day, or as part of some current training. So people might have leadership training, they might have frontline supervisor training, they might have safety professionals training, they might have senior executive training, board training. Each of those have been a part of programs that we have run.
So you really tailor anywhere from an hour to all day event type of thing.
Yes,
absolutely. That's fantastic.
And it's wonderful, I suppose, feedback for us that we have clients that we've been working with for over 7 years. And so that's great that they just keep saying, no, we want you to do it again, and we want you to do this year. We've had some clients over 5 years doing exactly the same story because it's a story that resonates with their audience. So those things just are working with our clients, building that relationship, and we enjoy that. We're very fortunate that we have a great team of people across Australia, but also our very close associates in London. And we have people in America. We actually have people in Utah. And we are very close collaborators. That's part of being storytellers, is listening.
Yep.
So we like to listen to what people are looking for, not just what they think their problem is, but what they're looking for. What's their golden goal? What do they want to get out of this session?
Right. So the third item that the Global Mining Education Foundation looks at is affordability.
Right.
How can we make education affordable so that more people can see it, obviously? So how does that fit in with what you
Well, here's the rub. The important thing about a production like this is the quality.
Yes.
And you pay for quality.
Yep.
So I'm right up front in saying that you have to think about our project as the years that our people have been doing the job, not the day that we're on show.
Sure.
So you're paying for, let's say, a team of 4 actors that probably got between them almost 100 years experience, if not more. You're paying for a director who has trained, probably got 2-3 degrees, worked in 2-3 different countries, has incredible experience on the theatre and film, and will bring that story to life. You've got a writer. Now, you met Andy.
Yes.
Andy he's doctor as well, and he has a PhD. He has 3 degrees, masters in writing. So that's his talent that he's bringing to adapt this story into a script that is going to be accessible for everybody in the audience. So that's just the creative team. Then you've got the facilitation and I suppose the stakeholder engagement team, which is led by me mostly, where we're working with the clients, as I said, to understand what they need, to understand what they want to achieve out of this. And the important part there is we are the conduit for the authenticity. So we spend time in people's organizations to hear their language, to see what the guys are wearing, to make sure that we're not going to get it wrong, so that they're going to get distracted by some minor detail, like, for example, the hard hats, or you got the wrong ear defenders, or someone's wearing eye protection inside, like we don't want them to get hung up on a little thing like that. So we make it our business to get that right. And we get the casting right so that people look like them, the audience, or look like the people they're supposed to represent. So all of that is specialist. So if you can put a layer on that's a hospital, for example, and you're putting that amount of people with degrees and experience and expertise on the same level, you'd be looking at hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we're not in that level, but we are a cost that starts at around the 20,000 US mark for our project.
Okay.
That would be just for a company ringing up and saying, hey, we heard about the slip. That sounds fantastic. We'd like to do it at our place. Let's start realizing that it's probably going to cost around 20 to 25 to start. Now, that will be different if it's bespoke, because that's more.
Yeah.
Does that help?
But yeah,
It's hard.
It's
everything is kind of case by case basis, but I don't want to say that.
But if you're really looking at it, if you cost $20,000 and you have 1,000 people go through it, it's $20 a person for training. It actually is affordable.
So it's interesting you say that, because a number of our clients have really understood when we make that point.
Yeah.
So some people, oh, gee, that's expensive. And I go, well, yes and no. You're paying $250 a head for someone to go and learn Excel.
Absolutely.
Right? For a one-day program.
So $20.
Where's your value?
$20 for the actual production per person is pretty reasonable. And so that a lot of the things that you've already answered my question about credibility. That the effort that you put in to prepare and the quality of the people that you have, and having watched the slip in the play, it is very high quality and it is credible in that case. So you really do, it seems like you covered all the different areas of being effective, efficient with the number of people, the fact that it's affordable when you look at the number of cost per person, and the high quality that you do. So from my point of view, as somebody, that those are the key things that are really important for education nowadays, and the way we have to look at it. You've really covered all the bases. Oh,
well, thank you, Brad. I think one of the things I should point out is that the event that you saw was a live production in a big conference sense. And that cost a lot more because we had a production team doing lights and sound, and we had all the people running around for the various roles when you're doing an event production. So that's slightly different from just a training production. So just point that out. And the other thing is, I just didn't want to let this opportunity go by without thanking you for your contribution to the slip, because once we'd read the book as well, it was like, this is the story because people did on our team with your contribution and Alex's and many others, we rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
So
And
thank
that-
you.
I think that's a really good way to put it. So Mike, really appreciate your time and thank you for taking time with me today. And this is talking with Susan Fleming from ACT Australia, a company that really is on the cutting edge of new and innovative education for the mining industry. Thank you.
Thank you.